I think that the politics of FAANG have become an issue really for the first time. And, you know, we've historically looked at these stocks for their extraordinary rates of growth relative to the market. And I think for the most part, that growth is still intact. But, you know, a couple weeks ago, Google failed to show up in front of Congress for a hearing, which was, in my mind, politically stupid on their part. You know, Apple has, I think, done an amazing job at working with the administration to try to protect its customers and its products from the trade war that is beginning with China. You know, Facebook is somewhere in between. They were making a lot of mistakes. Now they're doing better politically. But I think that's a sign of that we need to be cautious. We just need to be careful because there are factors other than earnings that are driving these stocks now. And that, frankly, hasn't been the case until very recently.
Roger, at the same time, you mentioned Facebook seems to be doing better. Amazon is getting ready to head into the holiday season. Yeah, politically, getting ready to head into the holiday season, which is big for them. Netflix just did well in the latest round of awards. Apple has these new iPhones coming out, charging higher prices. Are there any fundamental roadblocks for tech right now, despite the fact that a lot of people are worried that what goes up must eventually at least flatten out, if not come down?
Carl, I think that's a really, really important question. I think for Facebook, there are fundamental roadblocks. The changes that they're making right now are indisputably affecting usage, the minutes of use per customer in North America and Europe. And we don't yet know if and to what degree that will affect earnings. My impression is that Google is really playing with fire relative to the European Union and now maybe even the United States, and that is likely to have some impact at some point, although not in the next few quarters. I look at what Apple's doing. I actually think that the new iPhones are fantastic, but that's not the big story. Apple's really differentiating itself on privacy right now and on protecting its customers from an increasingly hostile digital environment. And it hasn't trumpeted that story as aggressively as I would if I were in their shoes. But the things they've done with Apple Pay, the things they've done with Maps, the things they've done with their facial recognition, and now in iOS 12, the stuff they're doing to block tracking bits and to protect consumers from third parties fingerprinting phones so they can follow them around as they travel around. Those kinds of things are a really huge deal, and they're super different from Android. And I think increasingly justify the premium that Apple phones have over Androids. And so I think we're going to see some interesting things. I think fundamentally Apple, Amazon, and I don't know about Netflix, but Apple and Amazon I think are going to have really excellent earnings over the coming period here. And I assume that you'll see the same thing from Google, but I do think that it is appropriate to be concerned because Google is acting as though, you know, they aren't responsible to anybody, and that's not how it's going to come out.